Coming up this week, we find a hidden waste disposal point by Bridge 35. A young deer takes a swim in the canal, but does it get out? And we rush to move AmyJo late in the evening after being informed of a sinkhole that started to fall. And a webcam on the back of Smudge reveals surprising revelations about his behaviour at locks.
Good morning everyone, we've just left Parbold after a nice couple of nights in Parbold and we're now headed for Bursco, or as it's actually pronounced locally, Bursco. We need water. So we're heading that way. There's a water point by the Rufford branch where that tips off the main line, so we're heading for that. And then we'll find a mooring in Bursco. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Been a weekend.
We're travelling on a Saturday.
Travelling on a Saturday, which isn't a good idea. And it keeps trying to drizzle as well, which isn't very good. The forecast was supposed to be dry today, but they never get it right today. So enjoy the cookies and boats.
It's a bit windy, isn't it? Well, up by Bridge 35 on the Leeds Liverpool, behind the bushes there, literally just behind those bushes, is a rubbish disposal point. So we're getting rid of our rubbish while we can, because they're very few and far between on this canal. Don't like collecting all the rubbish up in front of the bow. Oh, well, that's a bonus, Steve. There he goes. He'll be back in 2 seconds, I think. Literally, it is just round the corner. I heard him throw the last 2 bags. And then, that's it. 1, 2. And there he is back again. So, remember, Bridge 35 on the Leeds Liverpool to get rid of your rubbish.
Right, this pretty little junction here is the start of the Rufford branch, or the Lancaster Canal, or Lancashire Canal. I can never pronounce that correctly, but basically this takes you up through some locks onto the Ribble link, which unfortunately we can't do. We're having a brief stop at the junction here for water, which is tucked away in that little hut just there, and then we'll carry on. This week we leave Parbold behind and moor up for a few nights in Burscough. After filling up with water, we leave Burscough and continue our journey on to Scarisbrick Marina, where we fill up with diesel and pump out. After that we head back down the canal towards Wigan and retrace our steps all the way back to the Bridgewater Canal, ending at the Bridgewater Marina, where again we pump out and fill up with diesel. Once more, we head towards Wigan and stay there a few days while we wait for Tony and Jan to descend the Wigan flight and join us. In company with Tony and Jan, we then continue our journey to El Meadow Lock 89. He's a bit way off. There's a young deer right in the middle of the field, just wandering around, and he doesn't seem over perturbed by me. Later in the day, the deer made another appearance, but this time in the canal. It was swimming away from AmyJo. I stepped out just in time to see it swim across the canal and get out using a branch on the other side. Well, good evening everyone. It's actually 9 o'clock on the 18th of June and we've been slowly making our way back from Scarisbrick. And we've stayed 3 days at a lovely mooring just below Appley Lock. But a gentleman has just knocked on the boat informing us that there is a 3-foot sinkhole forming in the bank 2 bridges back from where we are now, and the culvert nearby is almost flooding. And we have noticed that the level has dropped here by 4 inches. So rather than risk staying here overnight and then the levels drop into a point where we're beached, if that sinkhole does cause a breach, we want to be out the way. So the Appley Deep Lock is only about a quarter of a mile up ahead of us. So what we're doing is we're moving AmyJo and we're going to moor above the lock, so that if this does breach, then we're out the pound. But the levels are, I've just noticed, down by a good 4 inches at the moment. They are they are low, despite the fact that there's no movement. So watch this space. We're now in the lock and Chris has got both the ground paddles open, so we're now filling. And as you can see, the water's coming in on our port side, so I'm keeping AmyJo diagonally across the lock to stop us swinging from side to side. This seems to work quite well on these deep locks. So we are alongside an old channel that used to join the canal onto the River Douglas. The locks at the far end behind us are now defunct, but it does mean there's a little bit of a cul-de-sac just to the right and left of this lock. I don't know if you can see it, but there is actually a boat moored just here. And our plan for tonight is to moor just there if we can get in there, just behind him. And that'll do us for tonight. We were planning on moving tomorrow anyway, so we'll see how we get on. That's the lock tone, but there is a side arm here which used to link up with the old River Douglas. So we're just stopped up here for tonight, and then we're moving on tomorrow. We were moored just down the end there, just before the bend in the distance, but we're now moored just above Aptly Deep Lock. Literally there is a sidearm that runs round the lock to some other locks that are now defunct, that we believe used to drop down onto the River Douglas. But as you can see, we've managed to tuck ourselves in on the other side of this lock just for tonight, and then we're moving on again. But the lock leaks, not too painfully, but if I zoom in, you can see just how much the level has dropped this evening. So there's definitely water going somewhere, just don't know where. Far from ideal, but we're here. As you can see, the front's sticking out a bit because we're on the curve of the island, but that's the main canal going down that way towards Wigan, so we should be safe here tonight. If it does breach down there, at least we're above the lock. So we've made ourselves all the way up as far as Scarisbrick, and with the Wigan flight still out, we've now backtracking towards Lee, so retracing our steps, and we're taking the dog for a walk this morning because we want to try and investigate what the sinkhole panic was last night, because we had a knock on the boat advising us to move it because there's a hole. So we're out this morning.
We did move it.
We did move it to above the lock, so as you saw.
We didn't need to.
But we didn't need to. But hey ho, better safe than sorry, eh? Well, despite last night's panic to move the boat because of a sinkhole, here is said sinkhole. So there's definitely something amiss here. We've just missed CNRT guys who are have put the Humphrey tape around it. But there you go. There's no flowing water in there. So if there is water leaving the canal, I don't know where it's going, but it's not coming from here. So I don't think we need to worry too much at this stage. There is, in the back of the hole that you can't see because it's in the shadow, where that furthest spike is, a concrete wall. So I'm just guessing the water is leaking behind that wall, and that's what's caused the sinkhole. Now turned nice and mild. If we look at our back cratch cover, it's a mess. It's really green, so we've started giving it a wash. I've done that corner panel, and the other one is in the process of soaking, and we found that white vinegar is the best, and Chris is going around cleaning the windows with Windoline, and we've borrowed a pallet, and she's just...
It's easy to do it flat, isn't it?
It's easy to do it flat that way. So now she's giving them a good clean. Here's the extent of the problem that we've got on this cratch cover. As you can see, it's almost green. Well, it's actually a mid-grey. So this one I haven't touched. All I've done is sprayed vinegar on it and letting that soak in. Whereas this side we have done, but it's going to need a second treatment, I think. But it's definitely cleaner. Then we've got the cover off completely, and we're laying it on a pallet, and we've just sprayed the cover with white vinegar. And as you can see, it's bringing it up really well. So that's the bits we've done, and this is the bit that we're doing. So it's coming up really well. Poor old Chris is on her knees, giving it a good scrub.
I'm a scrubber. Summer snow.
Summer snow, yeah. Well, excuse the shaky camera because I'm trying to catch up with them, but after 6 weeks of waiting at the top of the Wigan flight, they've finally made it and we've been reunited with them. It's lovely. Tony and Jan had told us that the hotel boat Lady Teal, which appeared on Narrow Escapes, had also been waiting at the top of Wigan Locks. And sure enough, while we were moored on the pontoon below the lock at the dry dock, she made an appearance.
Like grandparents with the kids staying with them, that type of thing, you know. You gonna get in all right? Yeah. Hello, you. Hello. Young Smudge. Where are you heading for tonight? Push on a bit.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning, as we leave Wigan for the second time.
Yeah.
We've had another couple of nights in Wigan while we catch up with our good friends Tony and Jan, who are on the boat behind us there.
Hey.
So they've finally, after 6 weeks, managed to get down the Wigan flight and have joined us. So now we can continue our journey on into Liverpool. That's brilliant, isn't it?
Yes. Can't wait. We've already started having fun together,
I was
Jan and
just
I.
going to say, they've only been together 24 hours and already the antics have begun.
Oh yes. You may see a little snippet of what we got up to.
Yeah. So enjoy the cruise today. I think the aim today is either Crook or Gathurst, both of which you've seen us cruise through before. So we're not actually going to video this. We're just going to enjoy the cruise ourselves, but this is just to finalise our Wigan Wait video.
Yes.
So enjoy the cruise. Bloody hell, it's a long way down. And at one of the locks we managed to put a webcam on the back of Smudge. It's something we've been wanting to do for ages, since we saw Paul and Anthony do it with Dexter. But the results, apart from excellent video, were quite surprising. We always thought that Smudge just ran up and down the lock, exploring where he was. But it transpires he was doing more than that. Just watch this. At this point you can see he's watching both AmyJo and the boat coming into the lock. Was he checking up to make sure they were in safely? I think Smudge got it.
Oh, for God's sake.
And now it appears he's checking that Jan is okay on the lock beam and Tony is settled on the boat as the gate is being closed. Now to go check up on Mum to make sure she's okay and working the lock beam properly and opening the paddles when she should. And of course we have to have a quick check to make sure AmyJo is in the right place in the lock before we get to Mum.
Just going to crack it because that gate opens, you see.
Satisfied that Mum and Jan are operating the lock paddles properly, it's now time to go and check up on Tony and Dad to make sure they're okay. Hello you. Hello you. You helping Mummy? After a quick check to make sure AmyJo's off the seal, it's obvious that Tony and Daddy are too busy and haven't got time for me, so I'll go back and check up on Mum again. When I get to Mum wants me to follow her and go across the bridge so that she can go and chat with Jen.
Hello, look at you with your camera on. I want one.
But I've spotted that I can get to Tony from this side, and Tony always gives me GBs, my favourite treats of all time, so I'm off to see him. Oh well, no joy from Tony. I'll head back to Mum and Jen.
But you see what I mean? He goes, good boy. Good boy. No, mummy. No,
Time to check to see if the block is now empty. I'll look over the edge there, but they don't like it when I get that close to the side. So they won't let me check it from the side of the lock, so I'll get back on the bridge and check it from up above. Yep, it's still empty. Just got a bit of time to check up on the emails. No, not going to reply to that one.
Turn round. We're going back outside. This way.
Time to help Mum with the gate now. I can't push it from this end, but I always stand by Mum and will her to open the gate. Oh, Dad's leaving the lock. I better check he's okay. I do hope he's going to stop and pick me up when he's finished. Yep, that's good, he's stopping. He's waiting for me.
Have fun, Daddy. Have fun, Daddy. No, this way.
Mum wants me to go and find Daddy, but I need to check that Tony's coming out the lock too. And she keeps calling me back. But I need to know that Tony's leaving the lock as well.
No. Oh, but I have to check both boats through now. Yes, check both boats now. Down. No, Smudge, this way. Down.
Good, Tony's out the lock. I can go and find Dad now and go and join him. I think we're finished at the lock because Mummy and Jan are starting to make their way back to the boats. So I know I made light of it with a bit of music and me pretending to be Smudge, but as you can see from his actions, Smudge was clearly looking out for both us and Tony and Jan, all the time aware of what was going on around him.
Funny pop. He's a good boy.
That's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I do hope you enjoyed Smudge Cam. And as always, a big shout out to our Patreons and our channel members. And we will continue the story next week on Life on Board AmyJo. Bye.